Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. The Honorable Mrs. Romla Ulfaika, SPD as the lecturer of Universitas Borneo Tarakan, and all of the audience who has come in this event for accepting the invitation. In this happy day, let us praise to present of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala who has given His grace of and guidance to us. Because of His grace, we can gather on this day in this event. Humans, we are believed to be smartest creatures on earth. We have our own special ways of communicating and acting around others. In fact, every single day, we talk, act, and behave so that our words and action meet the primitive expectation of society. I like to think of my entire body as a coffee machine, my heart the multicolored coffee beans before they're ground, my mind the filter, and my word as the action as the coffee. And what happened to coffee beans? Before you put them into the machine, all of them are multicolored and special in their own ways. But after they are grown up and blended together, the uniques within each bean is obscure. Once they once they have traveled through the filter, all people can see is just the plain coffee that they want. Nobody will ever see the rainbow colored beans in the darkest brown liquid. Just like nobody can see your initial through and decisions. There are a conflict with your word and action. All that people can see and taste it is the generic finished product. Maybe you are afraid that if you do not filter your original ideas and intention, others will reject you or dislike you. Perhaps they will see your ideas and decision as too strong or too bitter, so you instinctively feel the need to change to filter your coffee beans. People would be so surprised if they saw my original coffee beans. They would be shocked when they found out the real person I am. When I was in 4 years old, or no, I'm sorry, when I was in fourth grade, I transferred to a new school. It was my 5 week there. When I saw a kid being bullied on the playground, I was playing on the swings when I heard screeching and screaming noises from the other far end. I asked the girl beside me when it was all about. She was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just the ninth grade teaching the new kid in our grade lesson." She said it has everything was so natural. She then smirked, then whispered in my ear, "Don't tell anyone that I told you this, but he has the plague." I was confused, so I asked her what a kind of plague he had, and she told me it's the nano plague. She then explained that it was a virulent disease caused by nanoworms that bit into your face, causing a permanent red mark, and if other touch the victim or touched something that they had touched before 3 seconds had passed, they would be infected as well. Frankly, I was trying to see what was kid look like. When I go to the other side, I was astounded. I had never seen that many students circled around and cheering about something. I squeezed and my way into the center of the circle, but the playgroup was nowhere to be found. All I saw were the backs of 2 or 3 tall guys there in our school uniform. They they all screamed. They all seemed to be pointing and talking to something on the floor. Even though I don't quite get what they were saying, and I couldn't quite see who or what they were talking to, my assumption was the playgroup. Then I saw that most of the older spectators were laughing, so I laughed with them. as if the things that tall guys were saying were amusing in some way. After a while, I actually started to enjoy myself. Gradually, the guys at the back started moving aside. My heart beat rapidly as I stretched out my neck. For a better view of inner circle, I was actually expecting to see a monster-looking figure or perhaps a clone of Frankenstein or something. But to my surprise, it was just a normal boy. He might not have been the most stylish person I'd seen. He might have glasses that were way too big for his face. He also might have a birthmark, birthmark that covered up a little less than one third of his face. But to me, he was just a normal human being who deserved to be treated one like one to smirk gradually vanished from my face. It was then the realize that this was not a game. This was not something funny. This was bullying. For a moment, there was there was just way too many thoughts and ideas going through my mind, and I was just over, overwhelmed. I remember thinking and asking myself questions like, should I go in and help him? Should I at least stop it and tell an adult? But instead of following my heart and doing what was right, I froze. I froze there like a statue, too shocked to even blink. The shouting noises seemed to have faded into the background, and I seem to have faded in my own world. I regret that I ever laughed at them. The feeling, of complete melancholy, the feeling of downright regret and hatred, the feeling of resentment made us aliens and love over me. I felt like I was judging on salty waters, but too afraid and too bashful to use my arms and legs to swim to the surface. He must have noticed me, for he looked up at me with all the strength he had left. He was bruised all over his face. For about 10 seconds, he looked at me. I looked at him. He then muttered the word, "Help, please!" Instead of standing up for him, I backed down. I walked backward, further and further back until I stumbled and fell out the circle of specters. I look in his direction until the gap in the crowd started to fill in. Then I walked away fighting back. Tears. I want to march up and tell the aggressors and the spectators that what they done was inhuman. I want to tell everybody that they did not have the right to pick on a boy one third of their size. They did not have to right to tell a boy that he wasn't beautiful just because of a subtle, bright birthmark on his face. I want to tell them that they were the definition of ignorance and failure. I want to tell them that what they were doing was wrong. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.